What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Kirby's Barbecue YouTube channel. Today, what we're going to be talking about is how to make barbecue sauce as well as dry rubs. We're kind of doing a two-in-one video. That being said, I need to grab two ingredients before we get started because we're going to talk about the dry rubs first. Okay, so first and foremost, any good dry rub for your meats, in my opinion, should start with a salt and pepper base. Okay, should start with a salt and pepper base. We're in Texas. We do a lot of salt and pepper. Okay, now that's not always seasoned with most of the time. It depends on the meat, but that is going to give you a good base to the rest of your dry rub. So you can throw whatever else you want in there. Very popular seasonings to go in a dry rub: onion powder, garlic powder, paprika, because it has that nice red color to aid in the smoke, giving your meat a nice red color. Some people who like it a little spicy will use cayenne. You can use a lot of different things in a dry rub, but what I always would tell you to do is start with a salt and pepper base and then add ingredients from there. A lot of people like to use seasoning salts, seasoned salts. So you have a lot of options. My opinion is you should experiment. You're always going to have better luck. Like I said, this is my opinion, creating your own rubs rather than going and buying them from the store. Outside of seasoned salt, seasoned salt, seasoned salt. But if you're talking about like trying to go buy a certain company or certain brands dry rub, their rib rub, things like that, it can be good to go grab that from the store and try it out to kind of get an idea of what the flavor profile is and what they were going for. But long term, if you guys are doing your pop-ups, you're doing your caterings, you're doing your restaurants, you want to probably start to create your own rub so that you can bring some uniqueness to your barbecue and it not taste like the store-bought rub that your customers are probably buying already for when they barbecue in the backyard. So salt and pepper is going to be your base for your rubs. That's pretty much it on dry rubs. It's not that complicated. Barbecue sauce, on the other hand, we're going to talk about a little bit. So barbecue sauce, typically, from my knowledge and what I'm used to, we use a ketchup base. Okay, we use a ketchup base. I guess you could just use like tomato paste as a starting point and kind of make it from scratch if you wanted to. But for me, ketchup is a quick, easy base. They come in these half-gallon bags, and I can start with that before I start adding other things. Okay? Now, everyone's barbecue sauce is going to be a little bit different. I'm not going to give you guys the entire recipe, but I am going to kind of give you some ideas. All right? So, barbecue sauce. What are we talking about? So, we need a tomato base. Okay? I know there's some sauces that are a little more vinegar based, some sauces are a little more ketchup based. I do a ketchup base for my barbecue sauce, and then I do add some vinegar elements into it. So, one of my favorite things to add to a barbecue sauce is apple cider vinegar. Okay? That's going to be a good way to add some vinegar to your sauce. Now, another thing you may or may not know, but hot sauce, hot sauce actually contains quite a bit of vinegar, especially Tabasco. But this isn't Tabasco, this is just a generic hot sauce. But all hot sauce is going to contain some level of vinegar. And so between the apple cider vinegar and the hot sauce, you've got a good bit of vinegar adding to the ketchup, right? And you get the sweetness from the apple cider vinegar, you got the spiciness from the hot sauce. Another thing I like to add to my barbecue sauce is Worcestershire sauce. It just, or some people call it Worcestershire sauce, right? But this is a really good additive into your barbecue sauce. Once again, it's got vinegar in it, so it's got that vinegar taste. It's got molasses, corn syrup, so it gives you some sugar, some molasses flavor, caramel flavor, right? So that's something else. Now, you're probably going to want to add more sugar to your sauce. Some people like less sugar, some people like more sugar in their sauce. For me, the proteins that I make, the rubs that I do, are very simple, and I don't use sugar in any of my dry rubs. And since I don't use any sugar in my dry rubs, I want to make sure I am getting a good. I'm trying to make everybody happy, if that makes sense. So by not putting any sugar in my rubs, it makes the people who don't want sugar in their rubs, they might be diabetic, whatever the case may be. But if people who kind of like that sweetness when they taste barbecue, they get that from the barbecue sauce. And that's kind of my thought process on that is, hey, because me personally, I'm not a huge sauce guy. My opinion is if the meat is cooked well enough and seasoned well enough, then you don't actually need sauce. But it's nice to have every once in a while. And for that, we do a pretty sweet sauce. So you can use brown sugar, which I highly recommend to sweeten your sauce. You can use regular white cane sugar to sweeten your sauce as well. We typically put a little bit of Dijon mustard in our barbecue sauce. Just gives it a little bit more tangy flavor. Once again, there's more vinegar in this as well. You get that mustard seed flavor and things like that. And so I like putting Dijon in my barbecue sauce. Now, other things you can kind of get creative with. A lot of people may use Coca-Cola or Dr. Pepper or another one of your favorite sodas. Water, surprisingly, right? Because this ketchup can be pretty thick. And even with the other sauces we have here, if you don't have enough liquid in your barbecue sauce that isn't ketchup, if that's the base you're starting with, then your sauce is going to come out tasting really ketchupy. And that's not good. Not good at all. So you want to use some kind of liquids like a water and a Coke or Dr. Pepper. And you don't have to put any soda in there whatsoever if you don't want to. But water definitely is essential because that is going to dull down. It's going to thin the sauce and it's going to dull down the ketchup flavor. Now, what else do you need in your barbecue sauce? Well, you're going to need some spices, right? You're going to need some kind of spice combination. So as you see, I've got this here. All right. I'm not going to tell you guys what's in here. I've already given away a lot of different ingredients here. I feel like I'm about to sneeze, so you might know one of the ingredients in that dry rub. But I've given you guys kind of a good base. Everyone's sauce is going to be a little bit different. Everyone's preference is going to be a little bit different. These are the spices that I like to use in mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut this bag of ketchup open. I'm going to add the ketchup to my other ingredients that I've put into the barbecue sauce here. And then I'm going to put my spices in. We're going to mix this up, and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like when it's finished. And I'm going to do a little bit of a taste test to make sure that we've got just the right amount of each ingredient in the sauce. And let me tell you guys, customers really appreciate that you make your own sauce rather than serving them something store-bought that has a lot of additives in it, number one, a lot of preservatives in it, number two. And number three, it just shows an extra level of, I don't know, professionalism, extra level of care that you've taken to prepare their food. And so I like making my own sauce. It's kind of a pride thing, right? We're going to add these spices in here. And the good thing about making your own barbecue sauce is if you mix everything up, whoo, I'm going to sneeze. If you mix everything up and it is lacking something, or maybe you put too much of something in, you can always adjust on the fly without having to redo your entire sauce. So if you feel like it's not peppery enough, you just add more black pepper. If you feel like it's too spicy, maybe you add more liquid or more sugar. So you can always make adjustments. All right, we'll give this a good whisk. And you want to make sure you whisk this in very, very well, because when you're dealing with different liquids that have different volumes, like the ketchup is much heavier than your vinegar-based sauces that we added to this. So those tend to kind of push to the outside of the bowl. And you want to make sure you get a good mix of everything in there. Everything's evenly distributed. And really what you're looking for is you're looking for that really red ketchup look to change, essentially. If your sauce looks too much like ketchup, you may need to add something to fix that, because if it looks too much like ketchup, it probably tastes too much like ketchup. But we're going to give this a taste and see what we need to adjust. Okay, so I can taste the apple cider vinegar. I can taste the heat from the hot sauce. The Worcestershire sauce gives it a little bit of a smoky flavor. I can definitely taste that Coca-Cola hitting in the back. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Only thing I would kind of say on this is the sauce, the consistency is a little thick. It's a little thick. It's a little bit thicker of a sauce. I could add more liquid to this, but honestly, guys, it tastes pretty darn good. So I think we're going to leave it to that. I'm going to give it one more taste just to make sure. Because what I'm going to do afterwards is I'm going to pour this in a big bucket, and then I'm going to portion them out in the little portion cups you guys have seen before. So once they go in those, it's over. So it's done. So you got to make sure that this actually is how we want it. That's pretty good. I like that. That'll work, guys. I think we got a good recipe down. I think this turned out really, really good. I know this is kind of a quick video, but hopefully you guys learned something from it. Don't be afraid to experiment with your rubs and with your barbecue sauces. It's trial and error. You're going to have to test stuff, see what works, see what doesn't work, see what your customers like, see what they don't like, and try to keep a good palate. Like as a chef, as a pit master, you want to have a pretty level, even palate to where you can tell when things are too salty, when things are undersalted, when things are too spicy, just right, not spicy enough. You got to kind of have an even keel palate. And yes, you're going to have preferences, but you still have to have an even palate. That way, if you're in the even range of your palate expression, then the people that you're serving will be happy with a balance. You never want to go on one or the other extreme because, like I mentioned, some people like sweet barbecue, some people like salty barbecue, right? Some people like simple rubs, some people like exotic rubs. Some people like sweet barbecue sauce, some people like not so sweet barbecue sauce. So you kind of, there's a balance in everything. But hopefully this video found you well. Thank you guys for all the love and support. Leave a comment down below in the comment section. I want to know what you guys do for your rubs and your barbecue sauces, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.